Yes, well, and it'll walk through the oldest part of the cemetery here, in the old cemetery. And there's all sorts of age graves here. Most of them here, like this one right here says mass grave for the land wars in the 60s, 1860s. And yeah, there's all sorts of old remnants, and this one, trying to get to turn around. It won't turn around. That one is lucky to have what it's got by the looks. No names. But what I wanted to show you was a family grave. Some of these families have, from around the early 1900s, lost several to the First World War, and then more to the Spanish flu. So planted between these two trees here, planted. And this little grave site in the corner. Charles, great grandfather Charles, which is my middle name. Next to him is his son. I think. And that old chap in the corner has a few stories to tell, a few things to answer for. It turns out he made up a little bit of a story, like many of those that were settling this country. It was quite easy to get on a boat as one person and arrive as another. And then even then you could arrive and say that you arrived in a different manner, which is what he ended up making up a story in his youth or late youth. And instead of having arrived as a child and having had a fallout because of his alcoholism with his family, he made up a story about being an explorer who'd come here with his brother, and his brother had moved on to another country, to Australia. So he was here alone. And he'd managed to get himself, and he was quite a physical person, but he ended up just getting himself a family, and but they eventually left him when they were old enough. And seemingly the abuse that they must have suffered impacted my grandfather. And the old-fashioned kind of strictness, but I guess when there's alcoholic abuse in it. And so that got passed down, and it's often been described as a trait of being hard-nosed, and strict, but and having a temper. And it seems to be even increasingly clear that it was that old chap down in the corner that had a large part to play down there behind the red trees between those two. Ironically, the aisle I just walked up, I walked past my great-grandmother and my grandfather and grandmother on the other side of my family. They're only about 50 feet apart. Only about 50 feet apart, and 100, yes, I walked past, and 100 years. That one. Anyway. So there's been a few rays of light being shown on the makeup of the past and how our remnants can stay hidden for a long time. They don't come to light until they want to, because the story that he'd made was believed for right up until it was believed for 70 years, and even when it was found not to be true, several still hold on to the fact that they refuse to believe that it was all a lie, even if there's evidence. So it's interesting. It's rather personal, and I understand it's rather personal, but I thought there was some sort of an insight in there for all that might be worth sharing. So when you walk past all of these older graves even, and you think the same, what sort of unfinished stories or vagabondry and whispers that were twisted